Hello guys, my name is Victoria, I'm in class 1B and today I will be talking to you about the Underground. Okay, so what was the Underground Railroad? Well, the Underground Railroad, or the Underground Railway, loosely organized network with no clear or definite routes. They provided houses, food, clothing, transportation, everything that helped those slaves into freedom. So those organized routes were like routes on a map, so where to go. And the Underground Railroad mostly operated after dark or in disguise in order to avoid confrontation with authorities or people that would snitch on them, that kind of stuff. So those houses were like stations. So the fugitives would move on from station to station to station and in the end to their final destination, which can vary. So committees were formed in large cities like Boston, New York and Philadelphia, and those committees would raise funds in order to help those fugitives get a job or find some shelter. The early 19th century, though there have been accounts that showed that it might have existed before, since George Washington called them Quakers. Most of the information that we have today on the Underground Railroad might not be verifiable because of the fact that they were accounts of the amount of slaves that were transported, and most of the accounts came from after the Civil War, so from a different time period. So, somewhere around 100,000 of slaves escaped between 1810 1860 using this network. So the majority of those slaves, they came from the Upper South, so states that bordered the free North, like Virginia, Kentucky, and Maryland. If you haven't heard the term Underground Railroad before, you might think I hear underground and I hear railroad, so I think, well, it's an underground railroad, literally. No, it isn't. The Underground Railroad was not located under the ground, nor was it a railroad. So why are these terms used? Well, it was symbolically underground, seeing as the network's activities were to be underground, so secret, under the radar. They had to remain underground in order to stay out of sight. The term railroad was used because of the fact that the railroad was emerging as a transportation system, and the people working within the railroad system had ways of communicating with each other in secret language. So, the slaves also went on to communicate in a secret language. The slaves communicated in their own secret language, the spirituals. Now, I'm gonna give you guys examples of terms used that come from the railway production, the railway industry back in the day, that were used in the Underground Railroad. The homes where fugitives would stay were home stations. Owner of the house would be called the station master. The person that went on to collect the fugitives or the escaped slaves were called conductors, because they would lead a set of persons, a set of people to the homes. So the conductor of that group. And those financing this Underground Railroad were called stockholders. So now I've given you a few examples of terms that are pretty much the same in the railroad industry back in the day. The most famous conductor of the Underground Railroad is to this day Harriet Tubman. First, she began saving her family, and afterwards she helped other slaves, escaped slaves, escape. She saved over 300 people in the span of 10 years, and she did this in 19 trips. So, this is my talk about the Underground Railroad. Hope you enjoyed it and found it very informative. Have a good day!